Hello, comrades. Welcome back to Jacob's Custom Gunworks. Today I've got a Springfield Ronin EMP4 on the table, and then of course my Springfield Operator. Honestly, the Operator is just there for a little bit of a comparison that I have coming up. But yeah, let's dive into the EMP because that's what this is about for today. It's very, very, very windy outside, so we're not going to do any range videos today. Springfield Ronin EMP. It stands for Enhanced Micro Pistol. This one is in a 9mm caliber. And really nice little gun. 4-inch barrel. And they also make this in a 3-inch barrel, the EMP3. Kind of a two-tone finish. So you've got blued or black type of slide. And then a Cerakoted silvered finish frame. And the frame is in aluminum alloy, and then of course you have a steel slide. Now this is a slimmer version of a 1911, and just for those wondering, yes, it's cleared, nothing's in the chamber, nothing's in the magazine. In fact, the magazine's right there. Slimmer version, so they've actually changed 11 parts in this gun to make it for the 9mm cartridge. This is more or less, kind of marketed to guys that want to carry a 1911 in the concealed carry market. So this is a little bit slimmer frame than a full size. Of course, you have slimmer grips, and like I say, 11 other parts have been shortened to accommodate the 9mm cartridge. And I can see the appeal to this gun for that reasoning for the concealed carry market quite well. And I like it. I actually like it a lot. I do have some negatives to point out, but we'll get to there when we get to there. So anyway, your grips, like I was saying, these are really neat. I like the two-tone type finish on it. I really like these grips. For a factory grip, these are really, really nice. Very, very thin. I did confirm that you can take full-size grips and put them on here. However, your grip bushings, because they are designed differently, you might have to get creative with your grip screws. They are definitely not going to snug down like they should, so just keep that in mind. I did put a nice little grip sleeve on here, and it adds like a millimeter of thickness. So you really don't tell. These are actually for a full-size 1911, and they fit this EMP very, very well. And the reasoning why I did that is, one, enhanced grip strength. And basically it feels so much better in your hand. But the biggest thing of why is I wear a ring on my right hand, as you see. And I kind of dug into the finish on the other side. That's my fault. Didn't really realize it till I was done when I first put the first 200 rounds to this gun, so I did that, and it just helped with my overall grip. There isn't anything really behind here. It would be nice to see if there was some stipling, if there was something else to enhance that, but there's not. But these little finger grooves here, they really did help my grip, so that's kind of a personal preference. Did add an extended slide release. That is a Wilson Combat one. Here's the awesome thing about it is it literally dropped in. I did not have to do any sanding or fitting of any kind. It just dropped in and away it went. And then lastly, what I have done to this gun is I did go ahead and use my glow-on paint, glow-in-the-dark paint. And this has held up really well. So that's kind of another product that I actually do like. When you use the glow-on paint, and I know I've done a video about it, you need to let it sit for several days. I let mine sit for a couple of weeks before I went and shot him. They say it's dry in 24 hours and completely cure in a couple of days. They don't really specify how long a couple of days is, so, I let mine sit for a couple of weeks, and that was the good thing for me. But, yeah, this has held up very well, and I went and shot, in fact, the Pluto 22 video I did with the other 1911, I was shooting this gun, and they both have the glow-on paint, and I'll show you this one here in a minute. And my Smith & Wesson MP40, like I say, and that has glow-on paint because the tritium and the sights are pretty done. They all held up very well. And I put about 100 rounds for each gun the day I was out there running my drills. So, full-length guide rod, pretty sweet. It is a interesting recoil spring in here, so it's not a round recoil spring, it's a flat wire spring. And it works really well. Then you do have a bull barrel on there as well, so it's pretty nice. It's fairly accurate for what it is. Personally, I have experienced some accuracy variances in my 115 grain ball ammo. Sometimes one magazine will have a really good group, and other times it's really off the charts, and I'm wondering, what the hell am I doing wrong? Finger grip, whatever the hell I'm doing, and then I shot it in a couple other guns and noticed that some of my ball ammo is just really hit and miss. So I'm going to try something a little different. That is why that 124 grain Hydroshock is there. That's generally my go-to carry round in anything I carry. If I can find the Hydroshock, then I will buy it. I think Federal calls it something now. It's like personal defense, something or another, but it's essentially that Hydroshock round. But anyway, that's 124 grain. I did shoot a magazine of that out of this gun, and it did seem to be quite a bit more consistent in shot placement. So next time I'm out and about, I'm going to pick up a box of 124 grain ammo and just in ball and just see if that's my problem or if I just need to shoot the piss out of this. I have shot about 400 rounds through this gun, so I'm getting close to that 500 mark break-in, so I should start seeing some accuracy differences on the positive side. So, like I say, that could be me, could be the ammo. I'm not going to fault either at this point. 10-round magazines. These are Metgar magazines, and they're made specifically for the EMP. I did not find... Well, let me rephrase that. I did not find any other aftermarket availability on these magazines, other than, the Springfield Mark package. But they're relatively reasonable. A lot of these, sole proprietor magazines like Kimber's and things like that, very expensive. These are like $24 or so. So they're reasonable for what they are. Okay, now my long-winded speech about the positives. We're going to go into the negatives, so the very glaring negatives. Finish. The Cerakote finish is one of the things I want to talk about this. This is supposed to be, a carry gun. So I understand that this is an aluminum frame, and I believe there's anodizing underneath it. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But as you can see, I have marring marks on this gun. And I'll show you what that's from. Now inside the magazine, well, that doesn't bother me as much. It's not something that you're going to see. But on a carry gun, to me, especially for the price that you pay for this, the Cerakote on my end is not holding up very well. And what was on here was this little DefenTac pistol light and laser. And if you look very, very closely, I'm going to try and get this to focus. There you go. You can see the finish is actually rubbed off in certain places on here. And this is just a polymer or plastic housing. There's nothing metallic about this, so I would not expect this to cause that, but it does. And that was very disappointing. Again, for a carry gun, the finish for a Cerakote is not holding up like I would expect it to, so I'm really interested to see the longevity of how this finish is going to last. Quite honestly, if that was the case, I would just prefer it to be completely like a stainless look instead of a, like a matte finish like they do now, a polished finish. But yeah, that's a little disappointing. The slide, it is a little dirty because I've shot it, of course, has held up fantastically. This does sit in a pancake-style leather holster most of the time when I'm carrying it for obvious reasons, but I did take that light off, and I did have a holster for, the combination there. And I think I'm just going to leave it off. Most of my carry guns, especially because this is going to be, or was going to be, a winter carry gun, generally have a light on it because it gets pretty dark in the northern country fairly early during the winter months. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing a little bit different route, I think. So we'll figure that out when the time comes. But yeah, the finish, that could definitely be improved upon. And I doubt that's going to be covered by any type of warranty, and it is what it is. Honestly, if it pisses me off to the point of just annoying me, I will probably just strip it and re-Cerakote it or do something completely different. But other than that, it's a very fantastic little shooter, and I can understand why guys that are drawn to the 1911, myself included, would want that as, your ECD type of gun. Very, very, very neat. So, yeah. All right, so we're going to talk about the Operator, seeing as we have both of them out. I'll go over it briefly because I know I've done a tabletop, and I know I shot the shit out of this. This gun has impressed me tremendously. I've already gone over what I've added, like the guide rod and the light and things like that. But this gun shoots 230 grain. Anything I shoot out of it lights out. It really does. I was running drills with both of these guns here the other day. And nothing crazy, nothing fancy. But this gun outshot everything that I had out on that day. I took 3 different calibers, 3 different guns, like I mentioned before. And this was just my home run winner right here. It shot lights out. I'm super happy with this gun. It's kind of fitting. I'm going to take this to a qualification, and I qualified on a 1911 and 45 auto for my concealed weapon permit, and I'm going to qualify on my next shoot with a 1911 and 45 auto. So awesome! I'm just giggling inside. Yeah, my grandfather's probably smiling in ear to ear right now. Anyway, same thing with ammo. I typically prefer Hydra-Shocks. That's a 200 and I want to say that's a 230 grain Hydra-Shock. I do have some 185, but this gun likes that 230 grain ammunition, so that's kind of what I stick it with. But yeah, the other thing is I did use the glow-on product, like I said, and it is holding up very well. So for these little tiny bottles, let me grab one here. I want to say these are $18 for this, just this size. And they have 4 or 5 different colors, which this is probably more than I'll need in my lifetime. But it's really expensive. However, it is holding up pretty well. And once you put enough light to them, yes, they do glow in the dark pretty well. Anyway, that's kind of all I have. It's kind of a little longer video, a little longer tabletop. So if you stuck with me, awesome. Until next time, comrades.